because yesterday really was one of the most insane days ever in the association. And that's before we even get to the games. The first game had a 26-point choke job by one team. The second game had a Clippers team defying the odds, history, and fate to go on the road and get a win in Utah without Kawhi. Without Kawhi Leonard. I repeat, nobody knows Jack. Clippers. Why don't we talk about that for a minute? They were tied up at 2 games apiece with Kawhi Leonard. They had been down 2-0 in this series, and they had to fight for everything to get back into that series with Kawhi Leonard. And Kawhi was playing out his ass, too. So the hell were they actually going to do to stay in that series now that Kawhi is looking at a knee injury that could be an actual ACL? That series was over, right? I know the Jazz were playing without Mike Conley Jr. I know the Jazz have Donovan Mitchell all busted up. But there was no way the Clippers, sketchy as the Clippers are, could stay in this fight without Kawhi, right? Not on the road. Not in a barn that hostile. Not with all the blood in the water. No chance, right? And the reason for that is, really the question isn't about Kawhi. The question is about Paul George. It always is. Would he show up? How would he handle being the man in this series? Is there any way Paul George could pull a Kevin Durant and tell his guys, yo, get the hell on my back. I got this. Or is he just not anywhere near that class of player? Not anywhere near that clutch? In other words, what were we going to get last night? Playoff P, or more likely and almost guaranteed pandemic P? Turns out we got playoff P. Never good when you self-gloss, right? Even worse when you self-gloss with a horrible nickname like playoff P. Does it get any lamer than that? The Zookeeper, Shot Callers, and Crystal Methodist can't believe how terrible playoff P is as a nickname. And for years, everybody who followed basketball could not believe how terrible Pandemic P was in the clutch. Not last night, though. This dude was electric. He was exactly what he claimed to be in the past. He got that team on his back. He actually carried that team. For once, he actually did live up to all the self-hype. And then when he did gas late in the game, Reggie Jackson was there to pick him up. So was Nick Batum. After yesterday's shoot-around, when the team knew that Kawhi would not be able to go, George reportedly told Ty Lue and his teammates, quote, I got us. Quote, I got us. Normally, there is nothing more frightening and honestly less believable than Paul George saying, I got us before a playoff game. Yeah, sure you don't, pandemic. Like you'd rather hear, I'm from the IRS. We need to talk about your taxes. Or you'd rather hear your significant other say, we need to talk, than hear Paul George say, I got us before a playoff game. Because history has shown that Paul George saying, I got us before a big game means that passes are going to be chucked into the 10th row, the ball is going to be turned over, and backboards will be broken from the side. Not last night, though. Not last night. This dude was beasting. This dude was clutching the hell up. This dude was getting it done on the biggest stage with their season on the line and, frankly, his legacy as well. And when they needed it most, and it seemed unlikely as hell, this guy shows 37, 16, and 5. I'm not going to go as far as to say that it was Kevin Durant-esque, because it wasn't, but it was Kevin Durant light. It was Kevin Durant adjacent. It was a guy playing without an all-star teammate and carrying his team to a win on the road in a really hostile barn with all of those questions about him, about his grit, about his character, about his heart, all of that swirling around him. And again, I know the Jazz are banged up. I know they haven't had Mike Conley. I know Donovan Mitchell is not right. I just don't care. I don't care because the Clippers didn't have Kawhi. And they knew, the Jazz knew that George was going to have to be the focal point, and they still couldn't do a damn thing to slow this guy down. They knew he was going to try to carry the Clippers last night, and they still couldn't stop it. Honestly, they couldn't stop anything. So, Jazz fan, if you're not worried, either you're not paying attention or you don't know what the hell you're talking about. I'm not saying you're dead. I'm saying you've got a problem. You've got a problem, and that problem is a reborn PG. And again, when it was not PG, it was Reggie Jackson. Oh, no, this dude was not afraid. That was Reggie Jackson, the straw that stirs the drink. Hey-oh. It's Reggie Jackson, quote, sometimes not even understanding the magnitude of me. Man, 44 back in the day, Reggie Jackson had some amazing quotes. Like not being able to understand the magnitude of me. The straw that stirs the drink in New York. Man, and all true. Yeah, and how about Terrence Mann? How about this cat? Literally. Once again, I've got no dog in this fight. I can't lie. I don't care who wins. I don't care who loses. But that got me off my couch. That play got me off my damn couch. That is the absolute definition of a man's game in so many different ways. To go that hard into the paint against the 3-time Defensive Player of the Year, man, that is brass. To finish that dunk and to do it on the Stifle Tower, brass as hell. That was the defining play of the night for the Clippers. They knew they were undermanned. They knew they were on the road. They knew they had to have a giant brass set. And there was nothing more brass than man attacking the rack with Gobert back there protecting. He damn near gives up a foot to this guy. I mean, look, we are talking about the Clippers. And the Clippers are a trip, right? They did choke away a 3-1 series lead last year. They have fallen behind 2-0 twice this year. Except last night, they were the anti-heart, anti-grit, anti-clutch crew. They were so much more pretender than contender. So disappointing. I'm not saying that last night completely changes that narrative. I'm not saying they've arrived. I'm not saying they've figured it all out. I'm not saying that they're going to break Utah's face in Game 6 and hit the conference finals for the first time. I'm not saying I trust these guys, because I don't. What I'm saying is that was badass. That was a badass performance, and they showed everything that they haven't been in recent years. Gritty, clutch, and brass as hell. And it started with Pandemic P going playoff P. And I'd be lying if I thought that was going to happen. I'm not a felon, but I would be a liar if I said that I saw that coming. I did not. So tip your hat to a team and a few guys who have been much maligned. They manned the hell up. It was impressive as hell. I guess what I'm saying is turn up, love you guys, awesome. The Jazz had a plan. Then the Clippers punched them in the face, which would be an understatement. That'd be like the Jazz were, I don't know, Jeff Hornacek, and the Clippers went Stackhouse on them. You know what they say. We've talked about this before so many times. In the NBA, and what do I know? Because I never played in the NBA. But in the NBA, they know who will go, and they know who won't. They know who will go, and they know who will front. They know who is a legitimate tough guy, and they know who's a fake tough guy. Stack, back in the day, clearly proved that he would go.